Alright everyone, this is your 8.1 Pythagorean Theorem quiz review. There's a few sections here that I want you to complete. I'll go through these with you, okay, and your quiz is going to look just like this tomorrow. So, identify the hypotenuse C for each of the triangles below. Well, remember the trick I taught you is you draw a line through your 90-degree box, and that's going to point you to C. Okay, again, draw your line through your 90-degree box, there's your C. Alright, we're going to follow a trend with all of these, and this should help you identify C for every problem moving forward. Okay, remember for your Pythagorean theorem, we use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is the one by itself, so it's very important to know which side of the triangle it is. It's your longest side across from your 90-degree. Using the Pythagorean theorem, determine whether these are right triangles. Well, like we said, we're going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, the C is our longest side in each triangle, okay? 16 and 3, 4, 5 would be our longest, okay? So we have 20 squared plus 99 squared equals 101 squared. In your second example, you have 8 squared plus 15 squared equals 16 squared. And your last one, we have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. Okay, so 20 squared is 400. 99 squared is 9,801. And 101 squared is 10,201. If you add 9801 and 400, you get 10,201. So these sides equal. Okay, so they are a right triangle. Okay, 8 squared is 64. 15 squared is 225. And that's got to equal 16 squared, which is 256. But if you add 64 plus 225 together, we get 289, which does not equal 256. So this is not a right triangle. All right, and your last one, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, and 5 squared is 25. 9 and 16 makes 25, so these equal. Okay, these are a right triangle. Okay. Using the Pythagorean theorem, calculate the missing side. So again, figure out where C is and determine if that's what we're looking for. So for both of these, we are actually looking for C. Okay, so we have 9 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. And here we have 10 squared plus 24 squared equals C squared. Well, 9 squared is 81. 12 squared is 144. When you add 81 plus 144 together, you get 225, which equals C squared. And then all you need to do is take the square root. And C equals the square root of 225 is 15. On the right-hand side, 10 squared is 100. 24 squared is 576. If you add those together, we get 676 equals C squared, and then take the square root. The square root of 676 is 26. Okay, again, determine what side we're looking for, C, and this time we have a C, so we're going to solve for A. Okay, so 7 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared, and here we have a squared plus 6 squared equals 10 squared. Notice the difference between solving for C and solving for A. 7 squared is 49. 3 squared is 9. And we're going to add those together to make 58 equals C squared. Take the square root of both sides, and the square root of 58 is 7.61. However, when you're solving for A, you take the squareds, so A squared will stay. 6 squared is 36, and 10 squared is 100. You want to get A alone, so subtract 36 on both sides. A squared equals 100 minus 36 is 64. Take the square root of both sides, and A equals the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, again, take a look. We have a C, so we're looking for A. Oops, sorry guys, I'll pull that back open. And if you look here, across from your 90 is C, so we're looking for C in our second one. So we have A squared plus 6 squared equals 24 squared. And here we have 1 squared plus 1 squared equals C squared. Okay, A squared plus 6 squared is 36. 24 squared is 576. Minus 36 on both sides, and A squared equals 576 minus 36 is 540. Take the square root of both sides, and the square root of 540 is 23.23. 1 squared is 1, plus 1 squared is 1, which equals C squared. 1 plus 1 is 2. And C squared is the square root of 2, which comes out to be around 1.41. Okay, we have a C, so we're looking for A. And again, we have a C, so we're looking for A. So A squared plus 8 squared equals 21 squared. And 24 squared plus 30 squared equals, oops, sorry, hold on. A squared plus 24 squared equals 30 squared. Sorry about that. A squareds come down in both. 8 squared is 64. 24 squared is 576. 21 squared is 441. And 30 squared is 900. You're going to subtract 64 on both sides on the left. You're going to subtract 576 on both sides on the right. And we get A squared equals 441 minus 64 is 377. And 900 minus 576 is 324. Take the square root of both sides. And A equals the square root of 377 is 19.41. And the square root of 324 is 18. Okay, you have two word problems here. The fire truck has to extend their ladder 110 feet to reach the top of the building. The fire truck is 28 feet away from the base of the building. How tall is the building? Well, if my 90 degree is here, and here's my triangle, that means we have C. So I'm going to solve for A. So A squared plus 28 squared equals 110 squared. 28 squared is 784. 110 squared is 12,100. Subtract 784 from both sides, and A squared is equal to 12,100 minus 784 is 11,316. Square root both sides, and A is equal to 106.37 feet. A 17-meter piece of rope is pulled from the top of a 15-meter flagpole diagonally to the ground. How far away is the bottom of the rope? Well, again, we have C, so we're going to solve for A. So A squared plus 15 squared equals 17 squared. 15 squared is 225. 17 squared is 289. Subtract that 225 on both sides. And A squared equals 289 minus 225 is 64. Take the square root of both sides, and A is equal to 8. And this is 8 meters. Okay, thanks for watching. Your quiz will be identical to this tomorrow, just different numbers, okay, and different scenarios. Don't forget